Hi, it's Lee from the Japanese Water Gardens. This is part 4 of my series of short videos detailing the construction of a new quarantine system. In previous videos, we installed bottom drains, built a ply-lined timber frame, and cast dish-shaped concrete bases. In just a few short weeks, we are planning to stock the tanks with fish in time for the new season. So with lots to get done, we've been busy working on the system. We had made arrangements with Stuart from NKB to fibreglass the system for us. He had to make some changes to his busy schedule in order to fit us in, so it was imperative that everything was ready for him. I made a list of jobs that needed to be done and got started ticking them off. First off the list was filling the screw holes and joints between the plywood. I just dipped my finger straight into the filler and rubbed it into the holes. The gaps between the plywood in the corners were not large because we had cut a 45-degree angle onto them. So all that we needed to do was smear filler up and down the edge. I wasn't looking for perfection, but it is amazing how even small imperfections will show through the fibreglass. The open tops in the corners needed to be boxed in. I could have cut plywood triangles and screwed them in, but I had an idea that would save some time. To fill the void behind the corner panels, I rammed them full of loft insulation. It wasn't really that I wanted to insulate it. It was just a very easy way of filling the void, and I had plenty of spare insulation. Then I mixed up some sand and cement and filled up the last few inches. I pressed it down firmly and smoothed it over. To take off any eye points on the plywood, I planed down the tops of the tanks. This also removed a lot of the roughness that was on the sawn timber. To further improve the tops, I ran my router around and put a small bevel on the top of the plywood. Running down the back of the system, we installed a series of plywood panels. These will serve as a splashback and bridge any gaps between the wall and the system. Should a fish jump up, it can't get stuck floundering in a corner or get trapped down the back of the system. It will just roll back into the tanks. Then I started to rub down everything. It made sense to start high up and sand and brush the muck and dust down into the bottoms. I used an orbital sander to smooth over the plywood. The screw holes were barely noticeable at all. I then brushed out the bases to clear away any loose sand from the render, and finally the insides of the bottom drains were roughed up with sandpaper to make sure that the fibreglass would key to them properly. Everything was ready in the nick of time. Stuart was coming the very next day to get started. Fibreglass is the best method of waterproofing a structure such as this. It is far stronger and much more durable than paint. You don't get any folds or creases that would be unavoidable if you used pond liners. Fiberglass can be applied to a variety of surfaces and will provide a waterproof layer that adds a significant amount of structural integrity. Although I have dabbled with fiberglass myself, with a job such as this, it is best to bring in a professional installer. Polyester resin is mixed with a catalyst.
Why not focus your thoughts on making the most of your day ahead whilst savouring a delicious bowl of Dorset cereal's fabulously high fibre muesli for your chance to enjoy breakfast on. You're listening to Smooth Radio.
The resin is spread thickly onto the surface and a sheet of chopped strand glass fibre matting is pressed against flat onto it. More resin is then rolled onto it until the matting is completely wet out. A paddle roller is then used to press everything flat and to work the matting into the resin. Sometimes several thicknesses of matting will be used, each one wet out with more resin. The resin can set quite quickly depending on the conditions and the amount of catalyst added, so preparation and experience are required in doing a good job. A final layer of resin is applied over the top to form the watertight coating. This can have a pigment incorporated and will contain a wax that is needed to fully cure the resin. This is referred to as the flow coat. Once all of the flow coat has been applied, it will need to be left for several days to completely cure. The tools are cleaned and sometimes stored in acetone. In the next video we will be tackling the pipework and an unusual filtration system, so be sure to subscribe if you've not already done so. Please thumbs up this video. Feel free to comment or ask any questions. It's bye for now from Lee at the Japanese Water Gardens.